Hey guys! 2025 is already shaping up to be an epic year for fantasy anime, and whether you love dark magic, mythical creatures, or just a good old-fashioned hero's journey, this list has something for everyone. Grab your snacks and get ready because we're counting down the top 10 best fantasy anime of 2025 that you need to watch. 10. Teogonia. In the harsh region known as the Borderlands, humans must fight an endless battle against demi-human creatures that come at them relentlessly, intent on taking their land and their gods. A young boy named Kai, fighting to defend his village, sustains a life-threatening injury that causes him to regain memories from a past life. If you're not a guardian bearer, it's like you're playing life on hard mode. Kai's newfound knowledge gives him a new sense of the unfair rule set that governs the world around him. One thing is clear, for those without a god to serve as their guardian, life is a constant struggle for survival. Thus begins the epic tale of a young boy's ascent into a vast world filled with magic, bloodshed, and mystery. 9. I May Be a Guild Receptionist. Alina Clover becomes an Adventurers Guild receptionist, believing that, unlike the adventurers who risk their lives every day to conquer dungeons, she will enjoy a safe and comfortable career with plenty of benefits. She hates overtime work more than anything, longing for the day when she can finally clock out on time. Sadly, that day has yet to come, as she must constantly trudge through piles upon piles of paperwork. To make matters worse, when adventurers take too long to subjugate a dungeon boss, the backlog only grows, forcing Alina into even more overtime. Whenever her patience runs thin, she dons a disguise and takes care of the boss herself, soon gaining infamy as the enigmatic executioner. Alina has managed to keep this secret for 2 years until she finishes off a boss assigned to the high-ranking party Silver Sword. Unfortunately for her, the party's eagle-eyed leader, Jade Scrade, deduces her identity, jeopardizing the receptionist's dream of a carefree life. 8. I Parry Everything. The Kingdom of Clays faces a dire crisis. An assassination attempt has just been made on its own Princess Liberg, and its neighboring countries eye the aftermath like starving vultures, plotting the kingdom's downfall. The ensuing conflict will shape the face of the continent for centuries to come, but Nor doesn't have a clue about any of that. Having freshly arrived at the royal capital after over a decade of rigorous, isolated training at his mountain home, he's dead set on achieving his childhood dream of becoming an adventurer, even if the only skills he possesses are useless ones. Sure, he can parry thousands of swords in the span of a single breath, but everybody knows you need more than that if you want to be an adventurer. Our hero's road to making his dream come true will be long and arduous. But if there's one thing Nor's not afraid of, it's some good old-fashioned hard work. 7. The Most Notorious Talker. Noel longs to be a seeker like his heroic grandfather, slaying the beasts that emerge from abysses and exploring far-off lands. Unfortunately, it turns out he's nothing but a measly talker, a job with no combat skills whatsoever. Undaunted, Noel sets out to establish the strongest clan in all the land, using his silver-tongued talker skills to unite assassins and heroes under his leadership. 6. The Asen Newbie Adventure. Determined to pursue his glorious childhood dreams, 30-year-old Rick Gladiatal, a modest clerk in the Adventurers Guild, is offered a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity after he fatefully encounters the dark elf Rionette Elfolt. Rionette happens to be an elite adventurer of the legendary party Orichalcum Fist, whose members welcome Rick under the condition that he follow a Spartan training. 2 years later, Rick is finally ready to take the E-rank exam, officially qualifying him as an adventurer. However, raw magical power can only be developed until one turns 20. As such, Rick faces the general hostility of fellow participants and examiners alike, leaving him no choice but to show the world that his hellish training has turned him into an invincible warrior. 5. Let This Grieving Soul Retire. As dungeon-like treasure vaults started appearing throughout the land, more and more people began signing up as treasure hunters, risking their lives to obtain the vast riches and ancient relics inside. In the imperial capital of Zabrudia, the top hunter party is the Grieving Souls, a group of 6 childhood friends led by Cry Andre, who is thought to be the strongest of them due to having a reputed wide array of skills. However, Cry actually has no special talent. His accomplishments are actually the result of his friends being overpowered. Cry has repeatedly attempted to leave the party out of fear his lack of aptitudes would one day cause his companion's downfall. Nevertheless, everyone around Cry thinks differently, making him feel obligated to remain the group's leader. 4. Brilliant Healer. Born a poor man in the slums, Zenas never had opportunities in life, so he decides to forge his own opportunities by teaching himself the curative arts after a chance encounter with a healer. When an adventuring party led by a man named Aston extends him an invitation, Zenas is elated only to then be treated like dirt by his teammates. Despite Zenas' diligent efforts to hone his skills to nothing short of perfection, the party deems him useless and kicks him out. Bereft of money and options, Zenas starts an illegal clinic and becomes a shadow healer. Word of his healing genius spreads quickly throughout the city's underbelly, and as his reputation grows among the dregs of society, knowledge of Zenas' esteem reaches the wrong ears. 3. Ubelbalt. Once admired as the strongest swordsman of the Empire, Ascarite is betrayed and brutally killed by 7 of his brothers in arms after defeating the evil forces of Wishtek. 20 years later, Ascarite's name has fallen into infamy while his murderers are now admired everywhere and dubbed as the 7 Heroes. However, Ascarite returns from the dead as a half-elf named Coinzel with only one goal in mind, to take revenge on his old companions. Soon joined by new allies who share his thirst for justice, Coinzel will stop at nothing to expose the crimes of the 7 heroes and find ultimate solace. 2. Devil May Cry. 6. Devil May Cry from Studio A. Shankar, known for his work on the Castlevania series and featuring a soundtrack by Limp Bizkit. The new Devil May Cry anime series is one of Netflix's most anticipated releases of 2025. Devil May Cry story, which is loosely based on Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy, centers around Dante, a demon hunter who operates a paranormal investigation agency that accepts missions to eliminate demonic threats, presenting an intriguing world filled with action and revenge that has made it one of the most popular video game franchises now looking to take over the anime medium. 1. Solo leveling. Sung Jin-woo, dubbed the weakest hunter of all mankind, grows stronger by the day with the supernatural powers he has gained. However, keeping his skills hidden becomes more difficult as dungeon-related incidents pile up around him. When Jin-woo and a few other low-ranked hunters are the only survivors of a dungeon that turns out to be a bigger challenge than initially expected, he draws attention once again, and hunter guilds take an increased interest in him. Meanwhile, a strange hunter who has been lost for 10 years returns with a dire warning about an upcoming catastrophic event. As the calamity looms closer, Jin-woo must continue leveling up to make sure nothing stops him from reaching his ultimate goal, saving the life of his mother. And there you have it, our top 10 fantasy anime to dive into in 2025. Which ones are you already watching, and did we miss your favorite? Drop a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more weekly anime content. Until next time, stay legendary.